and we're going live on our channel. And we're on.
What up? What up? What up?
What up? What up? What up?
Chilling, man.
Second. This is the first official live stream of the channel.
No doubt, no doubt.
It's a big deal, man. The first official STK live stream for the channel.
What are we calling this, STK today, or the sun's on fire, or the Bucks? The Bucks did it.
Listen, man. I just gotta say, as a Suns fan, as a loyal, real Suns fan, not just like, Suns fan for this year. Like anyone who knows me knows that I've been a Suns fan since the Kevin Johnson, Tom Chambers era, before they got Barkley.
Like how did that happen?
Honestly, like most of the sports teams that I root for, I watched the game. So I had watched earlier games, but I wasn't a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like I had a grandfather and an uncle who would make me watch games. So I was watching like Larry Bird at the Boston Garden on CBS. Like that goes back, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, during those days. And so when I finally like got into it for myself, it was Phoenix Suns versus Portland Trailblazers Saturday night on TBS, 1988.
Damn.
So I'm watching like Clyde Drexler, Terry Porter, Buck Williams, and then you got Kevin Johnson, Tom Chambers,
Dan Marley.
He was a rookie, but yes, you had Dan. It might have been his second year, but you had Dan Marley. That's correct. He wasn't really like Dan Marley that we come to know, but he was like still like kind of Thunder Dan. Still,
Thunder Dan.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And so I said to myself, they're both going at it too. It was a great game.
KJ was nice, man. KJ is an underrated driving, penetrating, scoring point guard. Short.
So he was. So I said to myself, whoever wins this game, that's who I'm going to root for. And the Suns end up winning by like 3 or 4 or whatever. And I was like, and I just loved KJ's game at the time. He was back then, man. I mean, he had just got traded from like Cleveland because he got drafted by Cleveland. He didn't work out for them. He was behind Mark Price. And they were just like, they traded him to the Suns and he just flourished.
You got a good memory because I don't even remember him playing. I just remember him playing for Phoenix.
Drafted, he was stuck behind Mark Price. And then he went to Phoenix and he had a different coach. He had a coach by the name of Cotton Fitzsimmons.
Yeah.
Trust me.
He was the coach for a long time.
Yeah. And so he was, and so he flourished under that system. He had years where he averaged like 22 and 10. I mean, he was starting in the All-Star game along Magic Johnson at one point. So needless to say, I've been a Suns fan for the longest. And I would say that I tip my hat to the Bucks. It hurt my heart that the Suns couldn't pull it off. But if we had to lose to anybody, I was glad it was Milwaukee and not Brooklyn.
Yeah. First off, I don't know if you can see this, but like,
yeah, I can see it.
You know what I'm saying? For many that don't know, the owner of my company owns the Milwaukee Bucks, right? His name is Wes Edens, and he graciously took me and my daughter to a Bucks game in Milwaukee. So I've been a fan. I met Giannis. So these finals were amazing. And just to talk about the Suns for a second, first off, I thought that the Suns in these playoffs were the most well-balanced team. You got Booker, the scorer. You got the Grizzly veteran and point guard and Chris Paul. And then you have Aiden, who's a capable big that can hit the jump shot, foul line extended. I mean, they had a perfect triangle going on. And Booker, I mean, at times he looked like Kobe to me. He was honestly amazing. Some of the shots that he was hitting, I couldn't believe it. He willed the team to certain victories, and Chris Paul was just money throughout the entire playoffs. When they got to the finals, some of his luck kind of ran out, but throughout the entire playoffs, I mean, him and Booker were lighting foes up. Yeah. Then you had Campaign. That was a great change of pace point guard. You had Mikal Bridges, who, you know what? Philly made a terrible mistake.
Not
First
drafted
of all,
him.
Mikal Bridges' mom works for Philly. They
Yeah.
drafted him, traded him to the Suns, and all this guy's doing, he's perfectly situated as a 3 and
Yeah.
D.
Yep.
I mean, this guy's a winning player.
And he does a lot more. I mean, he's more than a 3 and D player. He's like he can do he's pretty much can do everything. He can guard positions 1 to 3. He's pretty good defensively. Like,
Yeah.
and the sky's the limit for him. I mean, he can only get better as he gets stronger.
Right.
But I mean, the kid, yeah, I don't understand what Philly was thinking. But then again, this is the same guys that drafted a 6'11" kid, made him point guard, and then they're now trying to trade him because it didn't work out. Like,
Yeah, definitely. You know who's really good too? Cam Johnson. Cam Johnson.
yeah.
Nice.
That was a nasty dunk, man.
You know what? I actually thought he should have played more. You know, I thought he should have played more. Like his minutes, I thought that he should have played. I forget the guy that they got from Miami. What's his name?
Not
the three. The Grizzly guy, the big guy that guards LeBron all the time. He's on the Suns.
Oh, Jay Crowder.
Yeah, Jay Crowder
was great.
Jay Crowder is another winning player. It's no coincidence that Miami was in the finals last year, and Jay Crowder was a starting 3. And it's no coincidence that the Suns are in the finals this year, and he's starting for that team.
Yep.
But there were times where Cam Johnson gave them a different dimension that Crowder couldn't, and he probably should have played a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? I love Monty Williams. I mean, really, number one, from a Knick fan perspective, Monty was a Knick.
Yeah.
You know, once a Knick, always a Knick. He was a good player for the Knicks, and my man is not only a good X's and O's coach. He's also like he reaches out to these players, and he talks to them at a certain level that they just absorb and they love. They love playing for him. Yeah. The Suns are good, man, and I want them to continue being good. Hopefully, what do you think? They re-sign Chris Paul?
I don't think they should.
No.
I think for the money that he wants,
$100 million?
$100 million for 3 years. I don't think that's because you think by the time he's 36 now, by the time that contract's over, he'll be close to 40.
Yep.
And
he's a beacon, man.
He won't he won't be close to anywhere that play. You know, it's just at this point, you know what? I mean, we could go out and try to get somebody else. I don't know. I don't think,
But here's the thing, man. They made the finals, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were a surprise top tier team because of Chris Paul. You remove Chris Paul, you add another player in it. They're going to be good, but they won't be a top tier team. So once you go to the mountaintop, can you really take a step back? What you're basically saying is you got to take a step back to take 2 steps forward.
Yeah. Totally.
And now that they tasted what they could be, I think they want to maintain that.
Because I don't think Chris Paul can get them back there.
A lot of things broke right for not only the Suns but the Bucks. A lot of things broke right for them. Everything was perfectly situated for both of those guys. Yeah. But you got to make the best of your opportunity.
I don't think it works out the same. I think it all depends on free agency, what teams. But there's a lot of stuff in play. You know, you had that Steven Adams trade to the Grizzlies. So the Pelicans are looking to, they're finally decided we're going to build around Zion. There's a lot of different things in play right now, and you just don't know. The Lakers are always a team to watch. The Knicks have money. Teams that have money can always pull players away from different situations. And, Chris Paul can go to the Knicks, make all that money, have a great season, And
I don't think Chris Paul's going. I think he's going to actually sign up with the Suns. He'll probably sign like a $90 million over 3 years. He's supposed to get like $45 million next year. You average that down to $35 million.
He's got to opt out in order.
He's going to opt out. He'll have a deal in place.
Yeah.
Because they want to reach the mountaintop again. And I don't think he'll go to the Knicks, number one, because we're not ready. You know what I'm saying? And Julius Randle's not Booker.
Neither
Booker
were
is
the
a
Suns.
superstar.
Neither were the
Booker
Suns.
is
And
Booker is Kobe reincarnated.
And he's got a kid named RJ Barrett. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't sleep on the Knicks because the Suns, again, if they do resign them, great. Then we're back in the running of things.
Right.
But if we don't, I don't think it's a bad thing either because, again, 100 million, like I guess it's negotiable. You shoot high and then you aim. But I think he should.
But someone's gonna pay him that.
Yeah, someone is. Someone is. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of teams with
unless
money.
he wants to go like really, really get a ring and like play for the Lakers or the Clippers and like kind of renounce all that money. But why would you do that? Yeah. Now money talks and stuff. Like, getting a championship is great, but $100 million can secure.
Well, he's at 30. He's at 36 years old. So
he's 36, but he played well, man. He was killing them this year. He was an all NBA point guard at 36 years old.
I don't know. You think he's got another year in him?
I think he has another 2 years, and then he'll drop like off a cliff that third year. So you're really paying for 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now, Suns are great, but the Bucks are the champs. Now I'm gonna rock this jersey until we talk about the draft. Then I'm gonna rock my Knick jersey. But the Bucks.
Yeah.
What a story. You know what I'm saying? Number one, have you ever been to Milwaukee?
No.
Yeah. You know why? Because there's nobody that looks like you or me in Milwaukee. I went to Milwaukee and it was like super dark skinned people or super white skinned people. I looked like a foreign alien in there. It's very weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's in the outskirts of nowhere. It's an hour from Chicago. But luckily, what I learned is it doesn't matter if you have a small market team. It matters if the owners are big market people. And the owners of the Bucks are hedge fund billionaires, all located in New York. They paid $550 million for the Bucks.
Wow.
8 years ago. $550. It's worth $1.6 billion. Not only that, they constructed a new arena. They knocked down the old arena. You know that whole Deer District thing?
Yeah.
That was where the old arena was.
Nice.
They put money into the downtown.
Nice.
So in Milwaukee, you know how when we want to hang out, we'll go to like Times Square or whatever, or we'll like hang out. Mm-hmm. In Milwaukee, you go to a Bucks game. And everything is around there. Yeah. Like the thing to do on a Friday night is to go to a Bucks game and like enjoy the night out.
And then go to a bar or something.
And go to a bar around the Deer District, and everything's built around the stadium. So it's great. Yeah. I mean, hey, listen. People were talking shit about the Bucks. People were saying that Giannis should not sign up with the Bucks. And they had great management. They found a diamond in the rough. Like if you look at like how Giannis looked 7 or 8 years ago, he looked he was a skinny kid, 6'8", 6'9".
6'9", 205.
Man, couldn't shoot a jump shot. I actually don't think that
he looked like a baby. Yeah. I remember watching. I'm like, who is this kid? Like,
it's weird.
I was like, he's got too many letters in his name.
Yep. I don't know if a guy like that, like before this year, I don't know if a guy himself today would be drafted where he was drafted because people, the analytics community, value shooting so much that they forget about everything.
Right. Yeah.
So he was a penetrating, forward center that was undersized at 18 years old.
Do you remember the Carmelo story with him when Carmelo was in New York? No. So he comes to New York for his first game ever. For his first game in New York. And he's like, man, New York is beautiful. There's bright lights. And he's like, I get on the court, I see Carmelo Anthony, and I'm like, oh man, it's Carmelo Anthony. And he's like kind of like in awe, and he's playing. And as he's playing, Carmelo Anthony starts talking trash to him. And they're like, after the game, they're like, what happened? Like, you guys were talking? He goes, Carmelo kept saying stuff about my mom, and I don't know why he kept saying these things to me. And I'm like, he doesn't know my mom. Like, what is he? He kept just saying it was hilarious. It was cute, and it was just like,
Yeah.
and it was just like, yo, like he was just like, yeah, he kept saying things about my mom, and I don't know.
And that's who Giannis is. He's a guy that he wasn't raised in the States.
No,
He's a Nigerian immigrant of
Greece.
of Greece, and his family hustled. You know, his four brothers, his father, his mom, they all hustled and shit. They were like selling shoes on the street corner, and he's a hardworking guy. So he didn't go through the AAU stuff that the States had. He don't know about trash talk. You know, his school, they were like poor, broke ass kids that couldn't get out. He started playing basketball kind of late, like 12, 13 years old. So, you know, obviously he started coming to the States, and they saw him in the Greek league, and that's how someone like panned him, but he doesn't understand all that trash talk shit. He never did it. And that's what makes him so endearing. You know, unlike a Kyrie Irving or James Harden or Durant, who are amazing talents, but they kind of like scoff at the basketball viewership. You know, these guys are basketball players, and basketball is an entertainment thing. And yes, it takes, you know, I've been playing my entire life and I'm trash. You know what I'm saying? It's like a skill unlike any other skill, and they're getting paid millions upon millions of dollars to do it, which is fantastic. And guys like you and me and Just Heck and Coach B, we watch basketball. Why? To unwind, to forget about our stresses by looking at a beautiful game. And sometimes these guys don't understand that, and they kind of scoff at us as fans. Yeah. Well, Giannis gets it. Giannis isn't that guy. He's like, guys, you know, LeBron asked him to be in Space Jam 2 to be in this movie, and he was like, you know what, I would, but I gotta practice. I'm trying to beat you. You know, and that shit is admirable. So I guess my point is, the story behind Giannis and the Bucks is amazing, because here you have a homegrown player that got picked by a management of owners that are brand new to owning a basketball team. They got a little lucky with him. They reconstructed the entire Milwaukee base. They gave the general manager leeway to like make moves. They had Jason Kidd as a coach. They turned that into Mike Budenholzer. And then things started, you know, they started maneuvering. Right. They got killed in the beginning of this year because they traded away their future to get Holiday. People were like scoffing at it. And everyone thought that Giannis was going to leave for better pastures. And what happened? They persevered. Right. You know what I'm saying? Everyone was like, based on the last couple of years, you know, Giannis playing against Kawhi, Giannis playing against Durant. People get enamored by big guys shooting threes and knocking down jump shots and crossing people over, that sometimes the best thing you could do is the best thing you could do. And although he's amazing at initiating an offense and passing and all that shit and taking it, you know, he's also amazing at dominating and getting by you and banging it from the free throw line and using his arms to like block everything and just using his hustle. His hustle is a skill unlike any skill I've ever seen. He's literally the hardest working guy on both offense and defense. And that propelled him. And then this year, he realized somewhere after the first round that he can truly dominate. Right. You know what I'm saying? He can truly dominate. And you want to root for a guy like that. A guy that says, I didn't want to go to a super team. I wanted to stay in Milwaukee, and I want to do it here with the guys that we have here. I want to win here. And for a small town market like the Bucks, that is a hour away from Chicago, from the Bulls, and playing against all these superpowers and being Giannis, I think it's just amazing, man. It's a great story. Not to mention the greatest closeout game in NBA history with a 50-piece chicken wing McNugget sandwich on it. I mean, what you think about that game?
I mean, I thought it was a great performance. I think it was one for the history books. It's definitely history in the making. I also applaud him for not cheating the process. The process being that, you know, you take your lumps before, you know, recent history has shown us there are quick ways to a chip. right? You could easily sign with a super team and just do your part, and you'll get there. But he didn't do that. Him and the Bucks, like the Bucks chose when it came time to re-sign Chris Middleton, they gave him his money. You know what I'm saying? They went out and got Drew Holiday. So this is a team filled with dogs. And okay, yeah, the first year they lost to Toronto. You know what I'm saying? When everybody thought that they were gonna win. Then the next year they lose to the Heat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And each year, like every year that they lost, it propelled, instead of knocking, it just propelled them, made them stronger mentally, made them tougher mentally. And that's a process that young people, young people need of basketball need to like see this and understand that, don't cheat yourself out of the process. You know what I'm saying? You got it. Before you win, everybody, the cliche is Jordan. Yes, Jordan lost to the Pistons over and over and over again until 91 when the Bulls they didn't go out and get, you know what I'm saying? They didn't recruit Isaiah Thomas to the Chicago Bulls. They didn't try to go out and get Larry Bird or Magic Johnson. Yeah. They said, no, Scottie Pippen, you're going to get your ass together. You know what I'm saying? Right. Horace Grant, you're going to get stronger. You know what I'm saying? Phil Jackson, you're going to coach better. And it came together. And, great things happened for them. And I think great things that are going to are in store for the Bucks because they didn't cheat themselves out of the process. They just kept, they took their losses and they kept it moving. That being said, it was a great game 6. And the true test now begins because, once you win the chip, you're champion for a week. And the next thing is like, okay, can you do it again?
You become the hunted. But but what else happens is, and back to your perseverance point, I find that in today's world, and I say, I have kids, right? Today's world, kids and people, old and new, that are in the modern world, want everything immediately.
Yeah.
And your process is a perseverance thing, where there's nothing wrong with taking the long road, because the feeling of victory is just that much better. You can savor it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you that they took the long road, and it's amazing that Middleton being on the same team for the duration of Giannis's career is amazing.
Yeah.
Middleton was a second-round draft pick, and the Pistons didn't. And they traded him to the Bucks, and this guy got paid. He got $100 and something million.
But he earned it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He for the most part, he earned it, especially now because he hit some amazing clutch shots, man.
Yeah,
he's
clutch. He's Mr. Clutch, but he's also Mr. Inconsistent. And although I like Middleton, my man's IQ is rather low. Like, you can't, he hits 30 today, he's hitting 15 tomorrow. He's mad inconsistent.
Yes, it is.
I watch the Bucks often, and as I told you earlier, they're a tough team to watch because they do a lot of dumb mistakes. Yeah. But that's what happens. And back to your point about being the hunted. You know what else happens when you win the chip? Your confidence grows. You know what I'm saying? You're the big bully on the block, and some teams start bullying other teams because now they're the bully.
Yeah.
And I think that if game 6 is a barometer, then now Giannis knows what he needs to do. Right. And a lot of the times, and Jalen Rose says this a lot, and Kenny Smith says this a lot. A lot of the times he showed his weaknesses. He would shoot like 6 threes, weakness. He would bring up the ball, which he's a great, he could definitely handle a rock, but you want him rolling to the basket versus passing the ball. Instead of initiating the offense, you want him to be the receiver of that. So they did a lot of things that were weaknesses that they were trying to make into strengths instead of playing to their strengths.
Right.
If they play to their strengths, and instead of getting a 3-point shot, he gets a 15 to 18 foot mid-range jump shot. Just work on that. Yeah. I think he could be unstoppable, and then the Bucks will have a totally different situation. By the way, since we're on the Nick podcast, how about my man Bobby Portis? How about my man Bobby Portis? All right, now I gotta take this off because now I gotta big up Bobby. I gotta big up Bobby.
Shout out to Bobby Portis's agent.
Real. My man got 16 big ones in the biggest game of his life when he was like a cast off. He got like a non-guaranteed contract.
Seriously. Shout out to Bobby Portis's agent.
Look at like a 3-year, $30 million contract.
Do you think the Bucks repeat?
I don't think the Bucks will repeat. And the reason why I don't think the Bucks will repeat is because I think that the Nets have just too much firepower. And, you know, losses are back to perseverance.
Yeah.
They needed to persevere as well. They need to climb the tough road. They were talking mad nonsense. You know, James Harden got hurt. But you know why he got hurt? He got hurt because he was in terrible shape in the beginning of the year because he was trying to get out of Houston.
Right.
Like, he's got to come back in tip-top shape. The reason why Giannis hurt is, you know, Giannis suffered a bad sprain, yet he played in the following series because his pre-shape is ridiculous. He's a human muscle. And, you know, I think that Kevin Durant, although he's a fantastic talent, made a mistake by playing in the Olympics because that's just a lot of basketball. You know what I'm saying? And he should have prepared for the following year. But if they re-sign Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie, honestly, they're going to be the favorite, and I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulders, and I think that they're going to be and I think that they're also going to sign Blake Griffin to like a friendly cap contract.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. I mean, honestly, no one's picking them to repeat, and I think maybe that's something that also works in their favor because no one really picked the Bucks to win the chip this year. Nobody, you know, and they literally, I mean,
it's hard. It's hard. You got the Lakers, you got the Nets. It's hard.
Like they were always in the picture, but it was kind of like it kind of let you down in years past when they were the favorite to go. So it was just like, you know, I honestly thought the Heat were going to beat them in the first round, or at least make it competitive, and they smoked the Heat, which I think was probably a great preparation for the rest of the playoffs, to be honest.
I think everyone was high on the Heat because of how they played in the bubble and how they went to the champ. But I'm not, you know, Jimmy Butler being your best player, you know, he shouldn't be your best player. Like he's a good two man, but he's not your alpha. And Bam Adebayo, who's a very good player, is also undersized. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then Tyler Hero, he came back to earth. You know, everyone was like, "Oh, if he was drafted that year, he'd be the number 1 draft pick." Now he's trade bait. You know what I'm saying?
They should have traded him. They should have traded him for Harden.
Huh?
Should have traded him for Harden.
Yeah, they should have traded for Harden. They should also Philly should have traded Ben Simmons for Harden. And now Philly, they got Embiid and Ben Simmons, and just Ben Simmons is just, you know, they can't find him. I read an article today that they can't find Ben Simmons. He's not in contact with Philly. He went on vacation, and that whole plan of him working on his jump shot, that shit's out the window. And that's what I'm talking about. He's another guy that, you know, he was probably one of those guys that was always tall and amazing at basketball. Obviously he worked on his game, right? Because in order for him to be a wizard with the ball, you got to work on his game.
Yeah.
But he probably played too many AAU games. He was the best player on the court. Never worked on his jump shot.
He didn't work on his fundamentals.
And that's the thing that they need now. And he refuses to shoot. And you can't have a player like that. Although, if I'm the Knicks, I try to trade for him. I would straight up trade anybody for him, no matter what. Yo.
Hello?
Yeah, you got me? Did I break?
I got you. Yeah, it froze for a minute. I don't know why. Sorry about that.
Yeah, like Ben Simmons is truly a talent, and Draymond Green can't shoot. Shoot. He's a Hall of Famer.
I think the worst thing Philly ever did for Ben Simmons was they made him point guard. They should have made him a point forward.
Yeah.
Because that right there, see that, so when LeBron came out, right? Yeah, Paul Silas. Paul Silas wanted to make him a point guard. And the best thing they ever did, they said, no, don't. They tried it for like 2 or 3 games and they realized, nah, you know what? It's too the mental pressure on a player to become a point guard who never, you know what I'm saying? Like it's one thing if you're a playmaker on your team. Then there's another thing where you've always been a point guard. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're raised and you go through everything, as a point guard versus someone who has point guard capabilities, but it's better if you just let them run the court. You know what I'm saying? Let them.
Yeah, but I think that he is a point guard. I think that our definition of a point guard has changed over the years. Like when we were younger, a point guard was the guy that got everyone else the ball. Now the point guard is, one of the top 3 scorers on your team and facilitates.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's like a throwback. He's like a modern throwback where he'll grab the ball, go on the break, pass it.
Yeah.
He just can't make a jump shot. I mean, he'll lay it up.
But he's also frustrated.
Plays deep.
So he's 6'11", right? And
strong.
but he doesn't use it to his advantage.
No.
Because the first thing you would do is if you're 6'11" and you're at the 1, you post. You put them in the post because even if you're not gonna shoot, if you get close enough and there's no double, guess what? You're taller than Trae Young. Young's you're 10 inches taller than Trae Young.
Literally.
That's a jump hook. Boom, that's 2 points. Even if Trae Young hits a 3, you come back, you post him again. You do it again. Now you make Trae Young tired because you're backing him down. Or you know what I'm saying? Or they gotta put their best defender on you. And then you back him down and you draw the double team. Like you use what's called your basketball IQ. You use it, and he doesn't do that at all. Like it's just like he's just waiting for a fast break to happen to make the spectacular play.
Yep.
And really, what hurt him were the basic plays that he didn't make, like the easy layup or the dunk that he had, and he decided to pass it.
Super easy. He was at the rim and passed it to a guy that was already covered.
Right.
It was like 3 feet away from the rim.
By 2 people. So it's like, all the basic things. Or when they did the hacker bend.
Yep.
And he couldn't make free throws for his life.
But I will tell you this. Ben Simmons on Golden State and you trade Draymond Green. That's different. An amazing team. Because Ben Simmons will be the new Draymond Green.
I don't know, man. I think
Draymond can't shoot. Can't shoot.
But Draymond has a great basketball IQ. Draymond runs the offense.
He has a great basketball IQ.
He has a great basketball IQ. He knows where to be. Even
he does have a great basketball IQ.
For all his deficiencies, he knows where to be. He's got a nose for the ball. He's obviously his defensive prowess has kind of dipped because he's getting older and all the games that they've played. But Draymond's still a dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't sleep on Dennison. That Warriors team, if they can pull something off this summer, man.
I think they can because they got the number 7 pick, number 14 pick. They got Wiggins.
That's trade bait.
They got a lot of trade bait. And I think what they could do, I think they're trying to get Bradley Beal.
Yeah. You put Clay at the 3. Oh my God.
Because they'll trade Weissman. They'll trade Weissman. Oh, and I think Weissman's going to be really good.
Yeah.
But
they're willing to trade him.
Again, people don't have the time to develop. You know what I'm saying? He got drafted at Golden State. They're trying to win. He's still learning, and it's a complicated situation.
Mm-hmm.
So they may trade Weissman, everybody I just mentioned, and those picks. Bradley, that's not bad.
Nah, man. I mean,
it'll be a small team and it'll be crazy. Yeah. But we don't know how Clay's going to come back. You know what I'm saying? If Clay's going to be the same.
That's true. That's very true.
We don't know.
Is it draft time, brother? Are we at the draft?
Yeah, we're at the draft, man.
All right. So
I just want to say before we get to the draft, congrats to the Bucks. Giannis had one of the most amazing games of our lifetime, as I was in the bar and in the third quarter noticing this situation, I turned around to strangers and I was like, guys, do you guys realize what is in front of us? This is an all-time historic performance. He was 17 from 19 on the line. He hit a three. He was dominating. He had 5 blocks. Honestly, he was amazing. So, congrats to the Milwaukee Bucks. They deserved it. The NBA needed it. The NBA needed a feel-good story, and I loved it. And these finals, my last word on the finals is, yo, if you are a basketball fan, you like to hoop, you play ball on Sundays, these finals were for you, man, because there was some good-ass basketball.
I would say this much. Shout out to the NBA for having a great playoffs overall.
Yeah.
You had New York they only won 1 game, but that 1 game was like worth 5 wins. I mean, people were wilding in the street.
You got the new Reggie Miller and Trae Young like bowing to the New York audience and like, yo, we just got everybody.
Seriously.
Yo, they got new stars, man. They got new stars coming out.
Seriously. The league will live on after LeBron's gone.
Definitely.
To say the least.
He's getting old.
So moving on to the draft.
Yeah, man, which is tomorrow.
Yeah, obviously people are still on the phones right now. Houston's trying to get the first pick. Yep. People want Cleveland's pick, but Cleveland kind of wants to hold steady.
Although I don't know why Houston wants the first pick, because Detroit's trying to get Cade Cunningham, right?
Right.
And Jalen Green might be
Jalen Green's not a bad
once of a lifetime talent. And they could get Jalen Green. I don't know. I like Jalen Green.
I like him too. I've been following him since his junior year in high school, man. And the kids, his ups are just ridiculous, man.
Yeah, he'll be the number 1 scorer on the team. Off the bat.
And people that don't know, he played in the 18 and under Olympics and was the leading scorer on that team. So the kid can play. He's played in the national ball. He's played. I mean, the kid, he opted to try out the NBA's developmental league.
Yeah, it worked.
Which basically that league forced the NCAA to let college players make money.
Yep. Kudos to them, man. Kudos to them because that was straight up slavery, right? I always feel bad for the Fab Five in Michigan because they were broke kids from like the bad parts of town. And then you saw their jerseys all over the place, and they didn't make $1 off of that.
No,
then sure they took a couple bucks, and then they got their titles stripped away and all that stuff. That's ridiculous.
Dragged through the mud, yeah.
And then you have the AD and the coach making millions, and you're not like these players aren't getting anything. Talking about you're getting an education. Stop it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
So with the first pick as Detroit's GM, you're taking Cade Cunningham.
I mean, it'd be hard not to, right? Cade Cunningham is like allegedly LaMelo Ball talent. He's a tall point guard that has great scoring ability, a good body. The only thing, if I'm Detroit, I just drafted a point guard the prior year, the French guy. And what they're really saying is, either the French guy, they can still play together and Cade would be off the ball, or the other guy, what's his name?
Man, his name starts with a K.
Killian Hayes.
Killian Hayes, yeah.
Killian Hayes could, they could alternate, playing off and on the ball.
Yeah.
I don't like that situation because it reminds me of the Sex Land from Cleveland. But at the very least, these guys are of good height. Like, Cade is what, 6'7", 6'6"?
6'8".
Yeah, 6'8". Oklahoma State was trash without him.
Yeah.
He lifted that team. He was, he looks like he has a good motor. Again, I like Jalen Green, though. I like Jalen Green, but I think I think for the Pistons, they need a player to revolution. They need a franchise player. This might be it.
And from watching him in his AAU days, he's a type of player. He's played on loaded teams, right? And he wasn't always the point guard, but he's smart enough to be able to pick a role that best fits the team that he's on. That being said, I think he's probably the best player for Detroit at number 1 because, again, on Oklahoma, he filled roles that they needed. When they needed a bucket, he went and got the bucket. When they needed a playmaker, he was their playmaker. When they needed, a stretch 3, he became the stretch 3. Like, he filled role. He's smart enough to say, okay, examine what the team needs, and then he comes in. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna fill that role. His only flaw is he needs a better jump shot. He needs to, work on that. Obviously, the first year may be a little too fast for him. Yep. But Detroit is low key loaded, man. They got some studs on that roster that could really, I'm not saying they're gonna make the playoffs, but they can be competitive with a guy like him coming in. So
they're definitely not gonna make the playoffs. And the only worry I have is Detroit's been trash for a long time. It's been bad for a long time. So because when you have a team that's really bad for a long time, you question their management. And when good players go to teams that have bad management, bad things happen. So I'm hoping that this works. The cool thing about Cade is he actually wants to go to Detroit. A lot of players, that's the only team he worked out for.
Right.
But Detroit worked out a lot of other players.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, so he wants to play there. I think they're keeping it hush hush. They haven't actually acknowledged that they're going to pick him, but I think they're going to pick him.
Yeah, obviously, if you're Detroit, you got to look at all the options. You look at the trade options, but at this point, if you're not getting a Kevin Durant, a LeBron James type player, you take the guy that can make your franchise great for 10 years. If he decides to resign after his rookie contract. So, Cade Cunningham I agree, is definitely the best player at this point.
Definitely. I think so too. So
we move on to Houston.
Yep.
Houston, home of great chili.
Number 2.
A lot of people have been talking about Jalen Green. Also, a lot of people have been talking about Evan Mobley.
Right.
And Jalen Suggs as well. Although Jalen Suggs has I think he's dipped only because of the emergence of Josh Giddey, the stud from Australia. He's like 6'7", 6'8", point guard.
Low though.
The kid, I don't know. But what do you think? What do you think is the best option for Houston at this pick?
I mean, I think you got to go with the best available player, right? And Jalen Green, could conceivably be the number 1 draft pick. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He instantly will be the best scorer on the team. You got Porter on that team, who's really good as well.
Mm-hmm.
But Jalen Green is a special talent. What?
Yeah. You also got this kid on there too, the point guard.
Yeah, John Wall. That's what I'm saying. Like, unless they trade Wall, But I think Jalen Green. I think you got to go with the best available player. Right. So who is the best available player? Some people say Jalen Green. Some people say Evan Mobley, like you said.
Yeah.
And one thing about Evan Mobley is, let's look at the playoffs that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
The best players, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Denver. They were big guys. And Mobley, from what I read, is a cross between Chris Bosh. Mm-hmm. He's Chris Bosh with athleticism and a jump shot.
The kid's got quick feet. He's got quick feet.
That's really good. So people are looking at Giannis and they're like, can this guy be another Giannis?
No, I don't. So I've followed Evan Mobley. A lot of these kids in this draft I've been following for a minute. I don't think you put the pressure. I think he's a bit more guard oriented than Giannis is at his current height. Because Evan Mobley's already like 6'10", almost 6'11", and still has the quick feet. But he's not strong. And I think if you got to build him up. And so Evan Mobley may not be ready for like another 2 years, 3 years. He's not a project basketball wise. He's a project physically. You got to get him, because he's only he's 6'10", I think, and he's
210,
only
215.
at 2. Yeah, and dude, he's gonna have to guard wing players his first year because he's not gonna be strong enough to be in the post.
Well,
So
this is where like the basketball economics come into play.
yeah,
You know, you have Tillman Fertitta that bought the Houston Rockets.
yeah,
He had to trade Harden because he was being a little bitch about everything. So he's looking for a star.
yeah.
He's looking for a star.
Mhm.
And I'm Fertitta. I'm like, yo, you know what? We need the box office. We need the score. We need the guy that can score 30 points. And I'm thinking Jalen Green could be that guy.
Oh no, he's
For the next pick, Cleveland, on the other hand,
mhm.
Evan Mobley, they have a lot of different Evan Mobleys on that team.
Right.
They have the guy that was traded from the Nets,
Jared Allen,
who's up for a contract. They still have Kevin Love. They have a lot of forwards. You know what I'm saying? So, but this obviously is when you get to this position and you get a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers. Honestly, none of those guys will be there. Maybe one or two guys will be there in the next 3 years.
Yeah,
so you have to get the best available talent because all those other guys could get traded tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, Evan Mobley doesn't last past 3 because he's a talented kid. The kid can play.
Yes.
He does not last. If he lasts past 3, like let's say if Cleveland decides they want to jump out the window and draft like Scotty Barnes, or they want to draft, you know what I'm saying? Like they want to go that route, or even honestly, Jonathan Kuminga. You know what I'm saying? You could go with him as well because he played really well in the developmental league too.
Kuminga's falling, man. People are like not high on him because he was a monster, but he's also kind of undersized. He's at 6'7". He can't shoot a jump shot. I think his attitude's a little weird because people are like, he's the one player that he was in the top 4, and now he kind of like falling down. He's now the latest one I saw, he was like number 7.
Yeah.
When he was like a top 3, top 4 guy. So Kuminga is kind of falling down. Yeah. And if you look at the stats in his G League elite teams, he wasn't like killing it.
Right.
He wasn't killing it. He was good, but he wasn't doing, especially like the efficiency around the basket. He had a low percentage, and that's a very bad thing when you're talking about a big guy.
Yeah. Well, he I wouldn't slot him at the 4. I mean, it's just. I'm just saying, like in the event that Cleveland was to change, obviously you take, if you don't find the player that you want, because Cleveland, they're big on Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green. They're not getting them.
No.
So you take Evan Mobley if you're Cleveland, and and then you build them up. You could kind of put him. He doesn't have to start right away, which is probably the best for him because, throwing him to the Wolves at his current weight is not going to be good for his career. Yeah. At least give him, it's reminiscent of like Kevin Garnett in that you had this 6'10" kid, he grew to be 6'11", but he came out 6'10", and he was like 200 wet. And they didn't start him right away. They kind of, they let him sit next to Terry Porter and Sam Mitchell and said, listen, learn the ropes. And then second half of the year, he started to round out, and they were like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And he came back stronger each year. But
Cleveland unfortunately has all sorts of issues. Their GM has a lot of work to be done. They got to get rid of Kevin Love.
Yeah.
Right now they're talking about trading Sexton, which could be a mistake, but he's up for his contract extension. It's all about the money.
Yeah.
They drafted back-to-back point guards, Garland and Sexton, and now they got a bunch of power forwards. So it's weird, man. But if I'm them, I'm drafting Evan Mobley.
Right. So we move to Toronto.
Right,
Toronto, home of Drake. At number 4, who do you think they take?
All right. Now, normally, the next pick, I would pick Suggs because he really is one of those guys that in 5 years, I can see him being better than all these guys because he's just a winning player. But Toronto is full on point guards, right? They got
But they're about to lose Lowry.
Lowry's gone, but the other guy,
got Van Fleet.
Van Fleet's been dying to step into Lowry's shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's primed and ready.
They paid him money.
They paid him money. So I don't think that Toronto picks, Suggs. I think that they go with a 3-and-D sort of player, or maybe not even a 3-part, maybe a ruggish playmaking big guy, maybe Scotty Barnes.
I was just thinking the same thing.
I think Scotty Barnes, his length and his his playmaking ability, and the fact that he could defend, can't shoot though, can't shoot to save his life.
Right.
And they have a problem with that. Like, Pascal Siakam can't shoot. And I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Pascal, actually.
But Scotty Barnes, man, I think his strength is he has an ability. He can play make at the 3 and the 4.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a lot of kids come out of college not being able to shoot. I mean, that's just the AAU scene, and you know what I'm saying? Like, they come out, people tell them play to your strengths, but they're not telling them work on your weaknesses before you hit the court. You know what I'm saying? So that they become strengths. But that being said, I think honestly, Scotty Barnes fits, because then you got you got thoroughbreds. You can play. You got OG Anunoby that you can kind of play around with. You can move.
He got a ready-made body too. Like he can step in and just play tomorrow, and they can make the playoffs.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And that's really in the East. That's what you need. You need bodies. You need to be able to throw bodies at the bodies. And I think he can come in and help right away.
Yep.
Not in the points maybe, but in different facets of the game for them, because that's what they need.
It reminds me of that other player that Cleveland drafted last year. That's also very similar to his game. I don't, you know.
Oh yeah. I remember we talking about the kid that we felt bad for because
he just can't shoot, but he plays good defense.
Yeah. We felt bad for him. We were like, why is he going? We were like, man, why is he? But no, I totally agree. I think Scotty Barnes is probably the better pick for them, but I know honesty, they're probably gonna take Suggs and make and probably do the same dual point guard
maybe
that they did,
because they are gonna lose Lowry.
Yeah, Lowry's gone. Lowry's out of there.
And for whatever reason, the Pelicans want now. The Chris Paul effect is going into play. These young teams are like, they need a grizzled veteran to adjust or fix their culture. So that's why the Pelicans traded Bledsoe and all those other guys, opening like $30 million in cap space. And now if the Pelicans want Lowry, they can't get him. And they're going to lose Lonzo. They don't give a fuck about Lonzo. And they're like,
they don't really care about him. Nah.
So what we got? We got Orlando next at the 5.
Yeah, right. So obviously, if Toronto takes Scotty Barnes, because that's who Orlando wants. Orlando wants Scotty Barnes. They're hoping that someone bites on Jalen Suggs early, or at least, so that he lands there. But Orlando's big on Scotty Barnes because he played in Florida in college, that 1 year college or whatever. Honestly, if Barnes is not available, I go with either Kuminga or James Bouknight. Honestly speaking, Bouknight. Yeah, I think Bouknight, it gives them the scoring that they need, because at this point, at this pick, these players aren't franchise guys. You're looking for players that are going to come in and help. And Orlando's biggest flaw is the lack of veteran leadership. They don't have They don't have enough veteran guys that could.
Also, they don't have playmakers. They got a bunch of big dudes that have agility that haven't really. They have a lot of defensive players, Mobamba. The guy that got hurt. They got a lot of those guys, right? Slender guys. They got a lot of length. That's what I'm saying. Like Scotty Barnes on Orlando, he's very duplicative, right?
Cole Anthony, I think can be good. You know what I'm saying? I think he's a piece. I
think Cole Anthony should come off the bench and they should draft Jalen Suggs if he's available. You know what I'm saying? If Suggs is a better point guard than Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony is a better scorer than Jalen Suggs, but Cole Anthony, to me,
is a better playmaker.
he's the new Chris Paul. That's how I think that Jalen Suggs is the new Chris Paul. When I seen him in college and the way he carries himself and the way he plays, I like his game really. Yeah. I like him.
He's smooth.
I would love for him to be a Knick. Like if the Knicks somehow could do something to get Jalen Suggs, I would love it. And he's about Chris Paul's height too. Like he's like what 6'1", 6'2". Yeah, but he's just that guy. He's that dude. But
Jalen Suggs is 6'4".
Oh, 6. He's got better, man.
Yeah, 6'4", 205. So he's ready made. He's got the body to come in and deal with the physical rigors of the NBA.
He's a strong player,
which is probably why he may not last past 4.
Yeah,
you never know. I mean, if there's a trade, teams are kind of big on him, but it's he was for the better part of the season. He was in the top 2, top 3.
He's not getting shout outs for everyone's kind of in love with Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green, but the one that succeeded the most in the tournament
was Suggs.
College was Suggs. Yeah, definitely. Like the one that led his team was Suggs.
Yeah.
Kuminga, the problem with Kuminga on the Magic is there's a lot of Kumingas on the Magic. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like how many Kumingas we're gonna get? Like there's a lot. Like what are we building here? Yeah. Like they need more playmakers. They need more guard play. I think. Yeah. Terrace Ross. I think he's gonna get traded. Because he's up for an extension or something.
There's a couple of guys that need to get traded on that team.
Lando's terrible. They
it's honestly, but at this point, if Suggs is available.
But I like Book Knight too. I like Book Knight, a shooter. They don't have shooting on that team. I don't even know how they score. Remember when they played the Knicks? They were they scored like 70 points one game.
Yeah,
they need scores.
Yeah.
No, so I know I said Suggs because I think he's just he'll get everyone involved, but they need need Book Knight. They need scorers Josh Giddey. I think that right now what they got Scotty Barnes. To me, I don't know, man. I don't get it. I don't like that pick.
Not at 5. I think Toronto, if they're looking, you look at 4 and 5.
Yep.
If they draft intelligently for need, I think Scotty Barnes goes 4, Suggs goes 5. Yeah. But you never know. You know what I mean? Oklahoma City.
OKC.
Yeah. They're trying to trade Shai Gilgeous right now, which is crazy to say, but
you know what? They're fucking up, man. I think OKC is.
They were.
Sometimes you get too nerdy with stuff.
Yeah, they were trying to trade. They were trying to trade him and the 6th pick to Cleveland. Because they're trying to get either Suggs or Mobley. That's who they're big on. At least as per NBA Insider, or ESPN Insider.
I read the whole thing. I read the same thing. First off, Shai Gilgeous is a fucking talent.
Oh God,
Shai Gilgeous could be one of the best. He's Dame Lillard. He's the next Dame. And as a Knicks fan, we should be all trying to get into that. Shai Gilgeous is one of those guys where I would consider relinquishing RJ Barrett. I would give him a lot of draft picks to try to get Shai Gilgeous because he would be perfect in our system. Yeah. And that's the problem with a team like OKC. They got a million draft picks. That's all they have right now. And people think, oh, these guys are geniuses. They have draft picks. They're trying to trade Shai Gilgeous, and you're telling me that they're smart. They had Russell Westbrook, KD, Paul George, Chris Paul, Harden. They didn't win nothing. They didn't win anything. How smart are they? They're not smart at all. All they did was recycle players. They got draft picks, and now they got too many draft picks. You can't build a team with draft picks. And then they got lucky with Shai Gilgeous.
Well,
Paul George trade.
Before we say that, they did it the first time with KD, Russ, and Harden. That's what they did when they got.
Yeah, no, I know.
So the formula has worked, but I don't know. It's puzzling to me, and I get it if you want to move up to get the guy that you really want, but I feel like now you have to trade him because now the news is out there. And if you don't trade him now it's like, does this kid come back and really play for you? Because now you kind of damage him, and now you may end up having to trade.
They don't want to pay him. They don't want to pay him $125 million. And you know,
that kid is smooth, man. Like he scores.
Nice.
Yeah, the kid.
Jay Gillis is nice.
Yeah.
Yo, every team, you got to pay one player, $100 and something million.
Yeah.
And OKC thinks that their horizon is 3 years from now. Yo, you got to pay this guy. And what we learned is you sign him, and then if you want to trade him, you trade him, and you get fair market value.
Right.
But you're gonna give up on him before his rookie deal is up. That's crazy.
Right. Yeah.
But that said, I think that OKC and Kuminga is a good fit because they need rugged power. They don't have any power forwards on that team, right? Who's their power forward?
It's probably I don't think there's anybody. Yeah, I don't think
trash players. They got nobody. Yeah. So Kuminga, I think Kuminga wants to be in because he actually would flourish. You know,
Kuminga would get the ball.
Yeah, Kuminga to me he could be like an Amari. He's a shorter Amari. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think you play him at the 4 though. Honestly, I think if you want him to have a great career, you could play him at the 4, but really he's probably better at the 3, being the fact, you know what I mean? Like he's got the quick feet, he's got a nose, right. And I mean, you put him at the 4, there's the league is full of stretch 4s. So at some point, I don't know. I think watching him in his AAU days, he wasn't the 4. He played the 3. It wasn't until he went to the development league that they kind of tried to develop him as a 4.
Right.
And I think his more productive moments was when he was on the wing as a 3.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. Honestly, you could try him at the 3. You could try him at the 4. Either way, unless they pull off a trade, this year is kind of like the Jeff Green year. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then hopefully next year, if they're bad enough, they can.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if I'm OKC, unless I trade that pick to get out of that pick, I'm picking Kuminga.
Yeah. I think, I mean, it's
or Book Knight. I'm more favorable to Kuminga because I feel like they need that player. But you can never be without shooting, and Book Knight is a good shooter.
Yeah.
Which leads to the next pick in Golden State, right?
I think if Book Knight is there,
they'll take him.
He goes to Golden State. Honestly speaking, unless Golden State kind of jumps out the window and looks at Josh Giddey, because Josh Giddey is one of those prospects that I think, honestly, you put anybody in that Golden State offense and they're going to
be able to shoot. You got to be able to shoot.
Yeah.
You got to be able to just catch and shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, what I think is going to happen is, Steph is 32 now?
Yeah, the window's closing soon.
Yeah. Draymond is 33. They got, and they're in San Fran. They just moved to San Fran. They didn't make the playoffs. They're going to try to get Beal. They'll try to get Beal.
So they're trading that pick?
Yeah, they're doing trade that pick. And they got number 7 and they got number 14.
Yeah.
And they got Weissman from last year.
Yeah.
They got mad players that
That's enticing. That's an enticing.
I would trade all that shit.
And that's a dangerous three guard.
They could trade
lineup,
Dame too. Don't be shocked about that. Dame is from Oakland. Although I don't really understand that fit. I would want more of a shooter.
Yeah.
The lucky thing about Golden State is that Steph is interchangeable. He's okay, and that's what makes him a special talent because he's okay with the ball or without the ball. Dame needs the ball, kinda. Dame needs to be the guy initiating the offense, and I don't know if I would actually make that trade. It'll be too much of an all-star team, and I'm not sure how that would work. It's not working out well for the Olympics, I'll tell you that right now.
No, it's not. I don't know. I think if you have a backcourt of, because I didn't really look at that, but you figure I don't think Dame has a great relationship with Olshey, the GM from Portland. I
Okay.
just from
Yeah, I
not
don't think so either.
Dame hasn't said anything, but the vibe that I get from the GM whenever he makes a statement or he's on TV and they bring up Dame and his face is kind of like okay, like
Yo,
you know
Dame
what
is
I
mad
mean?
real.
Yeah,
Yo,
like
I read a Twitter this day. I read something that Dame like kind of retweeted.
yeah.
Some inside guy was like, Dame is willing to give up money to go to the Golden State. And then he responded, really? And then CJ McCollum responded to Dame and was like, yo, you giving up, yo, I hear you giving up bread. He was like, yeah, you hear this shit? I ain't giving up
Yeah,
nothing.
exactly. Like
That's
it's not
crazy.
yeah. People, the shit that people make up.
Yeah.
But I don't.
People read the tea leaves a little too crazy and they go off the rails. But
Yeah.
So Golden State, provided that I got book night. If they don't make the trade, who do you have?
Book night.
Yeah.
If it's being depicted as we say,
Yep.
book night, because I don't think it's him or Moses Moody, and I don't think
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
Or Frank
even
Wagner.
or Dave. You know what? Honestly, Davion Mitchell, man, that kid, he was one of the best players in college, and that kid could ball, man.
And
Like
I love the Butler
strong.
boys. I love both those guards.
Yeah. Yo,
Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler.
Yeah.
Like
they were both amazing.
I want the Knicks to somehow try to get one of those guys.
Oh no! I honestly, what pick do they have? I think what they have.
They got 19 and 21.
I don't think Butler Mitchell's he's a lottery pick.
And they're trying to bundle it. They're trying to bundle it to get into the lottery.
And Butler isn't going to last.
14. But right now, on the draft boards, Indiana is scheduled to pick Davion Mitchell. I like him, man. I like him a lot.
Yeah. And also, you can look at like Corey Kispert too. I mean, but none of those guys really. Honestly, if you look at the best talent available, Book Knight is the best.
Yeah,
at that position. You know what I'm saying?
I like him too.
He's the best for Golden State at that point. You know what I'm saying? Which takes us back to Orlando because there are more careers to ruin. These guys are like most likely to be traded in 3 years because
most likely to be packaged.
Yeah, exactly. Like it, and flourish on a better team. That being said, at this point, you could go with Moody.
It's like go with Moody, you can go with Wagner, you can go with Giddey.
If I'm Orlando, I just go with Giddey. You know why? Because you need somebody with kind of that Doncic effect, who kind of you're just like, are we sure about him? And Giddey may be a flop, but at this point, what else do you got to lose? You get a point guard that can actually pass the ball. You kind of make Cole your playmaker / scorer.
Yeah.
And you hope you shoot for the stars in free agency. But if I'm Orlando, because to be truthful, I mean, you could take a chance on Jalen Johnson, who was a top 5 pick before he said, "Screw you, college. I'm gonna go prepare for the NBA draft."
Yeah, but that's reaching.
Yeah.
Johnson I don't see him on the draft board much.
Yeah, I mean, he's slated. It depends on which draft board. Like right now, he's like, they're talking about Charlotte may take him.
Yeah.
They're talking about, he may drop to like San Antonio. He may be like a mid-round pick, but the kid, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like at this point,
but I like Giddey. I like Moody as well. Like I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, what's the harm in going up a little bit and getting Mitchell? Like get the playmakers. Like,
that's true too.
These guys get so worked up by the draft position.
Yeah.
That shit doesn't matter. The second they draft it doesn't matter. Yep. You get the best available players.
Yep.
So Cole Anthony he's a great talent. I think he's a little undersized. I think he needs to work on his shooting and his playmaking. I think he's a great microwave off the bench type of player. They need a lead guard. That's why I would try to get like some either a guard like Giddy or a wing like Moody. I would try to get those type of players because you're going to lose Ross, or it may be time to get rid of Ross.
Yeah, it's definitely time.
In time.
It's time. I mean, it's time. Like and shout out to him and his agent because he made some money. But I don't know because again, Orlando. You talked about management, and that's another place that's kind of become purgatory, in the sense that the great thing about Orlando is that it has a bank where these guys can cash their checks. Because other than that, they got a new coach. I'm not sure what direction they're going to be going in.
They're a fucking mess.
Yeah, they're so bad that they were trying to package those picks from what I've read, and nobody was like, "No, we're good."
That's another team. I mean, that's another team that really has to look in the mirror and kind of like and kind of follow the Suns model, the Bucks model. They need some wins, man. It's been they never had one. Shaq left. Penny kind of like got he got healthy and shit. Yeah. Like they need some luck, and then they gotta focus on the right guys to manage them. Yeah. Aaron Gordon. I thought Aaron Gordon was gonna be good. They mismanaged him.
Yeah,
they have too many big guys. They have too many small guys. They're just not a well balanced team. They need to change it.
No, without a doubt. I think they didn't develop them. I mean, and then you got a couple.
Well, they had a good coach. They had a development coach. They had that coach that's like the Tom Thibodeau type of coach.
Steve Clifford, I believe, right?
But he may not be the right coach for this time.
No,
he's Tom is not the right coach at this time either. And also, we'll find out next year.
Also, too, I'm looking. You look at like Zaire Williams.
I like Zaire.
Cameron Thomas. I mean,
I like Williams, man. Again, 19. Give me Williams, yo. He's on some of the draft boards. He's down a little bit, and I like him a lot.
If I'm the Knicks, you snatch Butler as soon as he's available.
I would snatch him up. I would get any of the Butler boys.
Yeah.
So what we got next? We got the Kings.
Yeah, the Kings. Oh God.
At number 9.
Honestly, they're another purgatory
mismanaged team.
And I mean, they're just, and it sucks because who do you like? Honestly, they should just trade this pick because they need veteran. No, honestly speaking,
no, they do need veteran players.
When you've got a culture of just young guys, it rarely works. Yep. Unless you got a guy that's steadfast and he's a thoroughbred. It worked for Oklahoma when they had KD, Westbrook, and Harden because they knew KD was a bucket. Westbrook was all over the place. And when they needed, when they needed a bucket off the bench or they needed somebody to kind of slow the pace down, you had Harden to come in. And they they were able to do things. They were able to shift Westbrook to the 2. They had the talent. That was uber talent that you were able to get. Sacramento doesn't have that.
Yeah. And even they got Halliburton though.
But he's not uber talent. And they, what I'm saying? He's
good.
The
point guard. What's the point guard's name?
You got De'Aaron Fox. But he's good too, but he what I'm saying?
It's gonna wane off of him, right? A little bit.
It's just not working.
They got Buddy Hield. Which
he's gone. He's gone. He's about to be gone. They're trying to trade him.
They're trying to trade him to the Lakers. But you know what the crazy thing? Buddy Hield's a 44% three-point shooter. Why the fuck would you trade him? You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense.
They're not winning regardless.
Yeah.
So at this point, honestly, they're another team that I feel like you got to bring in some veteran guys who, what I'm saying? They don't necessarily have to score a bunch of buckets.
Right.
But you got to get these guys in line. You got to be able to say, you know what, this is the steps you have to take to win.
Yeah. And the thing about the Kings is that they should follow the Bucks model because, how I mentioned earlier that, in Sacramento and in Milwaukee, the thing to do is to go to a Bucks game. In Sacramento, that's all you have.
Right.
And
that an In-N-Out burger.
Exactly. I've been to that stadium and I've been to that arena. I've been to the Sacramento game. It's a great arena. It's a good crowd and stuff like that. They need a better product and they just need better management. Vlade Divac messed that up a while ago. They would have had Doncic had he not let politics, run its course. But they I don't know why they would trade Buddy Hield. I mean, I think every team wants a shooter. He's already paid. Like, what are you worried about?
Yeah.
I would trade the pick as well.
Yeah.
But if I don't trade the pick, I would try to get Moody, Giddey, or Kai Jones.
Kai Jones is a good pick. They need a big body.
Kai Jones, yeah. And then I would.
Franz Wagner also works too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Wagner's good.
Franz Wagner. I mean, honestly, if he's available, I mean, I don't think it matters who you bring into this crazy mix of, bandits up there. And it is what it is. I think, honestly, you bring in another young guy into this core.
Yep.
With a bunch of other young guys who are either are just good or just haven't panned out, like the young kid from that was a big star from Duke, and now they're trying to trade him because it obviously hasn't worked out. And it is what it is. Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of those guys you mentioned. You know what I'm saying? And then we moved to Memphis, which
another place. They're up and coming though.
They're up and coming. Because you got a thoroughbred on that team.
John Morant.
He's hungry, man. He's hungry.
He's Derrick Rose.
And he's coming for people's next season, man. I see it. Like he's, honestly,
put a little weight on himself, get a little stronger, get a little smarter. He's gonna be nasty.
I think with them, they got Steven Adams,
and Bledsoe.
So
Bledsoe may not play there for whatever reason.
The Knicks are kind of tart. They're saying the Knicks are kind of interested in that. I hope not, because I don't think. I mean, he's in sort of an upgrade over what's current in New York, but I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's it.
That's where Tom Thibodeau. That's where you get Tom Thibodeau. That motherfucker only cares about defense. Yeah. Obviously, what have we learned about the playoffs? The Knicks defense will take you a place, but to really do well, you need to be able to score the ball.
Yeah.
And the players on our team right now can't do that on a consistent basis. And Bledsoe, the reason why Bledsoe's been bounced around a little bit is because he's a tremendous defensive player. He's got a little long in the tooth. His O is not where it should be.
Yeah.
So if I'm Memphis, I try to get
Davion Mitchell.
Right?
I get Davion Mitchell. He's a good kid. Yeah, he's good. He shores up your bench.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you kind of snatch him from Indiana and Golden State, and you kind of shake up the draft a little bit. Because at this point, with everybody who's available, do you get a Jalen Johnson? I wouldn't, because you got wings on Memphis. You don't really need a center. I mean, if you're going to develop Kai Jones, you can develop him, but I mean,
I think they need a shooter. They don't have a knockdown guy. Like
maybe if Franz Wagner's available.
Is he a knockdown shooter? Is that what they think he is? Is he that guy? Franz Wagner?
No, So I
don't know.
They say, well, he's better than his brother, at least they say. They say he's got more grit than his brother.
Right.
I don't know what that means, but at this point, if you're trying to get shooters, you're going to draft somebody who's probably really more meant to be drafted later on in the draft.
Chris Duarte? He's a little older.
Yeah. I don't know. He's not
high. A lot of wings are remaining.
A lot of wings. I don't know. It's honestly, I would just draft Davion Mitchell, and you can get shooters, because shooters, in my opinion, they're a dime a dozen, and you can go into free agency and get a couple of shooters. because there's really nothing really available in the draft, and you could get a kid who can come off the bench, and you got him for 4 years.
Yeah.
And
You're paying them not as much.
Yeah,
find someone.
exactly. And then if he makes it big, you trade him. He's a trade piece, and you can get something later from him.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. You know, that would be my strategy at that point.
I got you. I would think that Memphis needs to like target. You know, they got a couple bigs. They need more wings and they need more shooters. So they got to target a big wing, or a wing that can score. So you think more of a catch and shoot type of score?
Yeah. And you get that in free agency. You wouldn't get that. You're not getting that in this draft. And this draft is kind of at this point, because I mean, and mind you, this is one of the better drafts in recent history. This isn't a bad draft because, you know, if moving to Charlotte, the kid Jalen Johnson, I mean, I've watched him in the senior in high school, and I watched him in the AAU circuit, and he was like LeBron James in terms of his size, man. He was running point, and he was bigger than everybody. Does Charlotte take him? I don't think he lasts past 13, to be honest with you, just because of his potential. Just based off of potential alone, I don't think this kid lasts past even Golden State. Although I don't think Golden State would need him.
There's another dude. That's another team that I think needs shooting. You know, they got a lot of playmakers, a lot of guards. Their main playmaker is the guy from Boston. Yeah. At the forward spot. So they need like some bigs that can actually shoot, spread the floor around. There's this dude from Turkey, Alperen Sengun. That is like Turkaloo. Remember Turkaloo? Yeah. But he plays like Turkaloo.
But do you get him? You draft him in the lottery? I don't know, man. Yeah, that's a tough. I think you could swing like a second round pick for him because I don't.
So I think he's a top 20 player. Maybe, you know, it's gonna be, you know, his name is kind of flown around. Yeah. But I think you kind of focus on the Hornets need catch and shoot players. Another team. They're in the same, you know, Kings kind of model, Grizzlies kind of model, where they don't have a lot of shooters. They have a lot of playmakers.
And all the catch and shoot guys are gone. So you figure, they're all gone. You know what I'm saying? So you figure at this point.
You go with upside like Zaire Williams.
Yeah.
You know, Trey Mann, I guess.
It's right? They're kind of slash. They're too, that's too high. But
yeah. Although Trey Mann for the Knicks, I would immediately on that.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, if you go with best player available, it's either Kai Jones, Jalen Johnson, Corey Kispert.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? You go with one of those guys, and you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's that this late in the draft, when you talk about need, all these guys are basically just drafting the best talent. They're not going to get the guys that they really need because they've already been drafted at this point.
Check out, watch that Alperen Sengun. Yeah. Watch him be up in the lottery. Or Keon Johnson.
Keon Johnson is good, man.
Yeah,
he can play.
Nice.
Yeah, he can play.
Tennessee.
Yeah, Keon Johnson was pretty good.
His 3-point percentage is low.
Yeah, he's a slasher though. He was. I mean, and again, it's what you're not gonna take him at 11 because that's just you're overpaying.
But the Spurs might. The Spurs might at 12 because they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose their shooting guard.
Yeah, but I think if the Spurs are drafting, if Kai Jones is available, they gotta take him. They need height. They need a big man. They gave away Aldridge, who ended up retiring, unfortunately, due to his health.
Yeah.
But
what about Jalen Johnson from Duke?
That's another good pick for them.
Yeah.
If Charlotte doesn't take him, definitely.
Yeah.
But Charlotte, honestly, I don't think Charlotte needs Jalen Johnson. So I think Jalen Johnson is a reality for the Spurs.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Being that he's got the height, he's kind of got the tools that Popovich looks for offensively. Defensively, he's a question mark, but
He was
develop.
not mentally tough with Duke. Like, remember he quit, you know.
He saw the COVID stuff was more affected him, and he just figured why almost get hurt
Yeah.
during the season, and it kind of I guess he had great foresight because they got eliminated due to COVID from the tournament. So he would have played. Tournament time is where these guys get their money basically, and he'd have just been chilling. So it kind of made sense for him.
He shot 44% from 3-point line, which is fantastic.
The kid is he. Let me tell you, he was bigger than everybody.
Yep.
And then going into the NBA, he kind of slimmed down recently. But he was at one point he was like, I remember him being like 6'8", 230, and he was running point. So the kid can play point guard. So
yeah, I like him for the Spurs.
Yeah, it's all about development. I think, and the Spurs will probably get the best. They're probably one of the better development places to go to. So
yep,
you know what I'm saying. So we got two more picks for the. We got two more picks.
13 is the last pick, right?
14.
Okay.
Yeah, we got two more. Indiana. I say Corey Kispert. Or I mean, you could go with Chris Duarte. Davion Mitchell would be a good place for him to go.
What about Isaiah Jackson, Kentucky?
He's a project.
Like Miles Turner is going to get traded.
It's a possibility, but Isaiah Jackson is a project though. He's lean,
small.
He's small.
But he's like Miles Turner in a smallish type of way.
Well, he's got a great wingspan, but I don't think he's that high on the draft. I mean, I don't know. I think if you go with best talent available, it's Mitchell or Kispert, because everybody else is gone by that point. Or if you figure, or you just trade the pick, because Indiana is kind of in rebuild mode, and I don't think they make the playoffs next year.
I don't think so either. You either, I think you keep the pick, you don't trade it. I like Isaiah Jackson for them. I like Corey.
Zaire Williams would be another guy.
Love Zaire Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Murphy shooting guard.
Maybe.
Trey Murphy might be good for the Golden State too. But if Mitchell's available, you take Mitchell.
Yeah.
Again, Mitchell is a good lead guard. I'm not sure Mitchell will be good for a team contending for the championship at this point in time. So you need a catch and shoot type of guy.
Yeah.
So you may be a little older, but I honestly believe that Golden State's going to package their picks. But if they don't, then, I would try to look for the type of player that they're trying to trade for, which is a shooting guard type. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think that in their minds, the best way to win a championship is just around the entire court with shooters. Yeah. When they won the championship, they had all shooters on the court except for Draymond.
Right. So I think he ran the offense. He was like their he was their he is their leader even now.
Wiggins is nice, but
he's trade bait, bro.
Yeah, it's too bad for him, right? Because he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have that killer. He's Chris Middleton. He's Chris Middleton, meaning he can get you 25 points and maybe get a bucket in the clutch, but then he'll get like 5-6 the next game. Yeah. So he needs to find his chi. You know what I'm saying? He needs to go to a team that embraces him, and he's the second fiddle, or even the third fiddle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right now he is that Golden State, but there's just too much pressure. It's just too much for him.
Yeah, you're right. I think he made his money, and I think the best you're gonna get out of him at this point, which isn't bad, but it's like between 18 and 20 points a game. Was actually 16 and 20. And maybe a highlight dunk here and there, but I think the Minnesota situation kind of broke him. And I don't think he comes back. I don't think we're gonna see the player that he was meant to become.
He could have been a big time player because he had big time athleticism, but he just doesn't have the desire.
No, right. And that's what he's
Jimmy
lacking.
Butler always said. He don't got it.
No, and he can score because he's got God-given talent, and the kid can play. But there's one thing just playing. There's one thing to like conquer. You know what I'm saying? Like he hasn't got
the curve from the get. Remember that Cleveland drafted him, and that's the year that LeBron went there. They kicked him to the curve.
LeBron was like, "Nah, we gotta get him out of here."
The Timberwolves kicked him to the curve. Now he's with Golden State. He got paid, but they kicked him. They're not they're lukewarm on him.
Yeah, because you think about it, right? He was supposed to be like right next to Steph Curry, and then realizing that he can't shoot. So Steph was just like, well, I guess I got to take it into my own hands. He became the offense. I think it was a stat you pointed out. It was either with Steph Curry, they were in the top 10 in 3-point shooting. Without him, they were historically worse. Yeah. They were like one of the worst 3-point shooting teams ever. And it's just, he's trade bait. I would try to trade him before I trade Wiseman, but I think for them to get what they really want, I think Wiseman's just got to be on the table, or both.
You got to trade Wiggins for the money, because if you're going to get a big time player, they're going to have a big time salary.
Yeah,
and he makes like what, $26 million a year.
Who, Bill? No, he's making more than that.
No.
Oh, Wiggins. Yeah, Wiggins.
Yeah,
he's making $26 million, and
But that said, if I'm Golden State and I don't do any of that stuff, who do I pick? If Davion Mitchell's not on the board, and again, I'm not sure I would go with Davion Mitchell in this point, because I don't know, man. Because Davion Mitchell's a winning player, but I feel like he's a little too raw for a championship contender. I feel like they should get like a Cam Johnson type of player, like a big player that can hit threes on a catch and shoot basis, like a stretch four. And who is that
in this draft? Not really.
Corey Kispert.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he would be the best player available.
Yeah, Corey Kispert. A shooter. Yeah, 44% from three. Spread the offense a little bit. He's going to come in, play his 10 minutes.
Yeah. And the kid can shoot.
Yeah,
he can shoot.
Spread the offense. That's what that's their mantra, right? Yeah. Like I see draft boards that they're picking Mitchell, but Mitchell's not that type of player. Like the ball's not going to be in his hands.
No.
So why would you get him?
The only reason he would even see court time is probably like second quarter to like give Steph a rest. But then you also remember they got that kid from Arizona from last year who he's going to have to compete with for playing time. Is he good enough to supplant that kid who made great strides, mind you? He started to play better as he came along. Is he going to be better than that kid going into the season? Probably not. But
right,
I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Probably Corey Kispert. Honestly, and this is a shout out to a guy who played all 4 years in college. Who, both. If it wasn't for guys like Kevin Garnett and Tracy McGrady who destroyed the draft because everybody started drafting on potential. Yep. This guy would probably be top 7, top 8.
Yeah, he's a winning player.
But
and Golden State can afford to get a player like this if he can contribute to winning.
Yeah.
But I honestly think they're going to try to trade the picks.
Oh, without a doubt.
At least one of them is gone. Like one of these picks is gone.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a bunch of guys out there that they could target, but I think if you're gonna try for anything, you gotta try for Beal.
Yeah,
you gotta try for Beal. You just got to, because at this point, what else are you gonna do? know what I'm saying? I mean, it makes no sense to just who you know what I'm saying? Like, what else are you gonna get if you're not gonna load the board, because that's really at this point, that's their how do you say, that's their winning formula. Put a bunch of all-stars on the floor and make it happen.
That's how they did it.
You know.
Now we would be remiss if we didn't mention who the Knicks should kind of target.
Oh, let's go. Of course,
and I'm like, and I got to tell you, man, they got tough sledding at 19 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
But if these players drop, I'm looking at Trey Murphy, Trey Mann, Jared Butler.
Dude, you got to get
Zaire Williams.
You got to get Jared Butler and Isaiah Jackson.
I'm looking for wings that can score. I'm looking for playmaking. I'm looking for scorers.
You need a guard. You need a better guard. That's what I'm saying. You get Butler, because Butler, he was some people even went as far as to say he was the best player in college basketball last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I mean, obviously that doesn't translate into potential, but you look at Jared Butler, if you see him at 19, you gotta take him. I don't see how you don't take him.
You have to take him. You have to. The only problem with this whole situation is Tom.
Yeah.
It's Tom. My man, for whatever reason, doesn't like playing players and stuff like that, right? So, and that's the problem with.
He's gonna re-sign Derrick Rose.
Yeah, that's the problem with the whole Knick construct. You got the reason why the Bucks did well, and the reason why the Suns did well, because the general manager did all this stuff with some input from their coach, but he crafted the team.
Yeah.
If you let the coach run the team, he's gonna pick what he likes, and he likes non-scorers.
Yeah, defensive guys.
Yeah, we got killed by Atlanta. Atlanta was loaded with a bunch of scorers.
Yeah.
Defense didn't matter. We played our best defense, and they still beat us.
Yeah.
We need people that can put the ball in the bucket.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
No matter what happens. And I still hope that they, throw the bag at Lonzo, because I think Lonzo would work well with
Zaire Williams dropping to. Honestly,
I like him.
If things play out, because you also got Cameron Thomas, who isn't a bad pick.
Yeah, he's good.
But if you could snag Zaire Williams and get Jared Butler, that's a win for the Knicks. To me, that's a win.
They have so many opportunities, but and they have a lot of guys, man, they come back, man, for the Knicks.
Right. Most
of their squad is unrestricted or restricted free agents, where we got to throw the bag at them. And they're all going to be like, hey, you were the 4th seed last year. I was a main component. I want X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And we all know that, yes, they were the 4th seed, but they were 1 win away from being the 8th seed. They were 2 losses away from being like out of the playoffs. So it was very deceiving. And I suspect that if we don't do a free agent splash, that we will be lower than the 4th seed. Right? The Hawks are now a legit team.
Yeah.
They're going to be the 4th seed. Like the Knicks will be like, if we come back, if we don't add any significant players, we'll be like 6, 7, 7, 8.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if we didn't make the playoffs. We have to continue building.
Yeah.
And we got to get scorers.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, man.
So, bro, man, we burned the midnight oil.
Yeah, we did. We did the finals. We did the draft.
Yeah.
Your Suns were in the finals. My Bucks beat your Suns with a historic performance by my main man, Giannis.
Yes, they did.
Put my jersey out. Hold on for 1 second. Let me show you something. Let me show you this jersey. I threw it off too fast, but let me show you. My main man. My main man, Giannis. He had a 50-piece chicken wing McNugget.
Yeah.
He shut people down. He talked shit about people, saying, hey, I don't want to join the super team.
There you go.
The draft is upon us. That's big basketball week, man. The draft is upon us. And with the draft, there's going to be a lot of free agent signings. And I have a hunch that we're going to have an active trade market.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these trades will be used in bigger transactions.
Without a doubt.
A lot of these
Yeah.
draft picks will be used in bigger transactions.
I agree. I agree. Bro, it was a great show. See you next week. Same
All
time.
right, man.
Same
Let's do this.
channel. You know what I'm saying? This has been STK.
Knicks forever, baby.
Knicks forever. Suns
Hi,
forever.
boys. Later, man.
Later, brother. Have a